legitimized by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet who millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
Trump, everybody they know, they gon' vote for Donald Trump, that's the way it goes. All over America, all over the USA, they voted for Donald Trump, that's what I'm trying to say. Election is over, everyone can see. Donald Trump is now the president of your country. Election is over, everyone can see. Donald Trump is now the president of your country. I want to make America great again.
Woo!
I want to lower the taxes. I want to bring all American business back from overseas back to the USA, baby.
There we go.
Ooh, yeah, Donald Trump is now president of your country. Election is over, everybody can see. Donald Trump is now the president of your country. Election is over, everyone can see. Donald Trump is now the president of your country.
All right, it's a Friday evening, early evening, 6 o'clock. Hope you guys are getting ready for a huge weekend. Yes, I do know that there's things happening not so good across the world. I know that. I know Israel and Iran are lobbing missiles and bombs at each other. But I'm going to be a little bit selfish today. I'm praying for the Israeli people, and I'm actually praying for Iranian people who aren't involved in the conflict as well. The people are the ones who are going to be suffering. Those people on both sides, the innocents. Let's pray for them. But, and I hate to say but, because I hate when somebody makes a statement and says but, because does that mean that they really didn't care about the first statement? No, I cared about the first statement, but however, this is an America First weekend. I know it's Friday the 13th. I don't believe in triskaidekaphobia. There's a big word for you. Triskaidekaphobia. I believe I pronounced it correctly. But I want to get in a festive mood. And if not festive, at least a celebratory, something that's looking forward to tomorrow. And might as well, it's, a little pre-funk right now. Let's, as I call it, I call that like the tailgate. Speaking of tailgates, I'll come back to that in a second. But yeah, I just want to focus on America right now. We've gone through so much, and we continue to go through so much, and we're going to continue even more to go through so much that I don't want to take the focus off of what we need to be doing and how we need to be living our lives. We just voted for somebody, and we fought tooth and nail to get somebody who says, listen, we're not going to go play in other sandboxes anymore. We're not going to go spending gazillion dollars in never forever wars. And so because of all that, I just said to myself, well, you know what? Tomorrow's a big day, a really big day. And, you know, it's bigger than maybe some of you guys know. I'm not sure what's going on in your neck of the woods, but let me just show you a little bit what's going to be happening here in South Florida. I hope to get some good video. Tomorrow, this is taking place down here all the way from Jupiter through Boca Raton. There's going to be a huge, huge Trump boat parade. People are going to be out on the water. It's supposed to be a fantastic day tomorrow. They're going to be flying their Trump signs and memorabilia out on the mega million-dollar boats showing their support for President Trump. We're not going to be cowering here. We're not going to be involved in all the rioting and all the stuff that's happening. This is what life is all about down here, and I want to get a big old heaping pile of it. And I just want to embrace this and say, that's what I want to be doing tomorrow with Robin. That's it. That's what we want to be talking about. Now, I understand tomorrow's going to be ugly in a lot of different parts of the country. There's no doubt that there's going to be riots and there's going to be protests and all kinds of things, crazy stuff. I saw the funniest video today. Because Ron DeSantis, and I've also played you video of one of our sheriffs down here, who basically said, don't FA, you won't have to find out. Because we'll put you in the ground if you cause something of, really bad. And Ron DeSantis has said, if they want to block the road, run them over. So I saw the funniest thing. I couldn't get it downloaded in time. Hopefully I'll get it tomorrow. Where someone decided, I think it was in Tampa, that they were going to have a protest. And they were going to block the road. But they had somebody, actually, I don't know if it was a megaphone or what, going, green light. And they all move as soon as the light turned green. Then they'd come out and stand in the crosswalks with their sign, green light. And they'd all move out again. It's the funniest thing ever. They know. They got the memo. We can't block traffic and nope, not down here. We can't throw stuff at the cops. Nah. In fact, the cops probably aren't going to show up. There's really no reason for the police to show up. Why is that? Because everyone down here is packing. And you start throwing stuff at people's vehicles here, you might start leaking. I'm serious. So I don't expect the nonsense to happen here, and I really pray that you don't endure any of the nonsense as well wherever you live. I understand, depending upon where you reside, things may get crazy, so stay at home. Stay home. If you feel like venturing out might be a little bit dangerous, don't buy into it. Don't antagonize these nuts. I can't tell you what the safety program is going to be like where you live. And I'd hate to see something happen to you or your family or your property because these nuts are out there. They're being funded by NGOs. Their money is now being traced almost directly back to Soros. And they have nothing good for America. All they want to do is destroy America. The other side of the coin is now I'm waiting for people to start putting the Iranian flag in their bio, because any minute now we're probably going to start seeing the I love Ayatollah signs pretty soon. And they're going to be out there probably protesting, even though we didn't really do anything. And so be careful. And in addition, we don't know who's out there in sleeper cell world and what these people who came across the border, thank you, Joe Biden, what they may have in store for us. So in any event, be careful this weekend. Enjoy yourself. Watch the parade on TV. Actually, no. Watch the parade here. Come back here. So let me show you what's going on tomorrow. And this is the website for the 250th birthday party, America 250, United States of America, to honor the 250th anniversary of the U.S. Army with a grand military parade and celebration in Washington, D.C. And it goes through and tells you everything, what you can do if you plan on, at this late date, flying up to Washington, which I wouldn't advise. Here's all the information. So let's get to the important stuff. This is the timing of it tomorrow. Here's the schedule tomorrow. The parade is actually from 6:30 to 9:30. I didn't know it was going to be a nighttime parade, but it's going to be a nighttime parade. It's going to happen between Constitution Avenue, between 15th Street and 23rd Street. Here's the timeline. 8 a.m. they start festivities and everything else. But as you can see, nothing is happening until 6:30. 6:30 p.m. is when the parade actually begins. So I plan on going live sometime about 6 o'clock. And I've got a couple of interviews in the can. And we're going to obviously talk about news, and we'll get some music going. Before I do the Rumbles thing, because I can't really do the music until we jump over at Rumble. And then 9:30, the event concludes, which means we'll wrap up at about 9:45 or so. Actually, closer, about 9:45. So tomorrow, get your nap on, figure out what you're going to do, get some sunscreen, go get your food, and we're going to convene here tomorrow. It's right about 6 o'clock. So I'll put the notification up as soon as we're ready for that. Speaking of pre-shows, I put up a poll in the on the chat thing, and it said everyone likes the after party, and I'm like, well, do you want a pre-party? You want a tailgate of sorts? I think so. So far, there's been 1,300 votes, and 73% said early show with a tailgate. All right, so here's how that's going to work. Because I'm going to do it. I used to do it with my real estate stuff. Used to do it when I did the Miami Dolphins stuff. It's a little bit different than the after party that you're involved in right now. The after party is I put up some beach scenes, and it just takes down. So we're going to back up. On the front end, what I'm going to do is put up my screen, because usually the first 20 minutes I'm working, getting stuff ready for the show, and so I won't blow it, but we'll do about a 30-minute pre-show. Gives everybody time to get in, tell your friends, come on in, and people can chat. You guys have built a fantastic community here. I love it. Sometimes you guys don't even need me to talk and converse and have discourse about things. But we'll start at about 30 minutes before the show, so you won't miss anything. And then we'll go ahead and we'll roll the the intro with the one-man intro. So it's just going to be real easy going, not a whole heavy amount of I can't really use real music on YouTube, so I'm going to have to use not elevator music, but I have to find some stuff that actually makes sense. I guess you guys can tell me what kind you want in the pre-show, more yacht rock type stuff. I don't know. You guys tell me. Just some soothing stuff that you guys can chat in the background. So with that being said, I also have 2 interviews scheduled. They're actually on tap tonight. But before I begin, let me go ahead and talk to you about the MAGA offers. The people at MAGA offers who are providing these. And again, I got so many texts from people like, Barry, what in the heck do you expect me to do with these? Well, not these particular ones because they're rather big, but you may have, relatives, friends, coworkers who might just think these things rock, that they're cool. Because you know how sometimes you see something and think, okay, I need these things in my life. Like yesterday, that was me when I first came across these Trump Never Surrender gold sneakers. Not really gold, but they're colored gold. These just aren't shoes. They're full-on statement, bold, fearless, and unapologetically patriotic. I mean, just look at these things. Gold finish, the red and blue accents. Man, this is awesome for 4th of July. It's like wearing a piece of American pride right on your feet. And let me tell you, they don't just look good, they feel really good as well. The quality is legit, comfortable, durable, and surprisingly lightweight. These kicks aren't sitting in the back of your closet gathering dust. You'll actually want to wear them, or somebody you know will want to wear one. Show them off, maybe even start a few conversations. They look good on a boat, tell you that much. What I love most is the message they send. Never surrender. It's not just a slogan, it's a mindset. whether you're out making moves or just walking into the weekend. These sneakers are a reminder to stand strong and never back down. They've also become a favorite gift. I mean, we all know someone who would love these big Trump supporter collector items, or just someone who likes the bold, rock bold styles. I mean, it's a fashion statement for sure. Might be too bold for some of you, but you're going to know somebody who wants to rock this kind of style. And here's the best part. Each pair is a part of a limited run, so you're not getting some mass-produced junk. These are numbered, exclusive, and designed to make a statement. How cool is that? If it sounds like your vibe, or if you're already picturing someone in your life who'd flip these, who'd love it, check them out. It's only for the Fanfare audience. You guys get a special discount at themagaoffers.com/Barry. That's themagaoffers.com. Just like it sounds, the THEMAGA offers.com/Barry. Use that link to grab your pair now and take up to 15% off your order. Don't wait too long. These are going fast. Own a piece of the movement and step into something legendary. All right, that being said, let's go ahead and start with the show. And I'm going to talk a little bit about what's going on in Israel as well. Here we go. Ready? Let's go.
Here's the big finish. 10.
Oop, I hit the wrong button. I hit that wrong button. Sure did, didn't I? Where's my thing here? Wait a second. I'm looking for my show stuff. Hold on, did I not pull it in? Wait 1 second. I gotta make sure. Sometimes when I produce everything, do I not have this stuff in here? Where is it? Oh, wait a second. Hold on. I've got some work to do here in a second. I found it. I hadn't brought it into the dashboard. Let's go.
That can't be okay. You know, I guess I said I'm mad in the open because we are seeing these things, as Michael so aptly laid out, with our own eyes. Yep. We are hearing with our own ears, yet the government is attempting to tell us to believe something else. We saw what happened in Newark. We watched the video of Governor Padilla. I watched Tom Homan suggest that Mayor Bass and Governor Newsom should be arrested. Yes. And your Republican colleagues aren't saying anything. I guess the same question that we asked of the senator: how are the Democratic members of the House of Representatives then rallying around you? Because to be very clear, you were the opening salvo, in my opinion. And I don't think the response was forceful enough from the Democrats to what happened to you. Yeah, I mean.
All right, so before they begin whining here, which is in this comedy show, the woman on the right in the white shirt and jacket, that's the woman who wore the red jacket and bum rushed everybody at the detention center and said, it's all about me. I'm here doing my job and I can throw my body around and hurt anybody I feel like hurting. She quickly found out that wasn't true. She got arrested. And then just this week, a grand jury indicted her. So MSNBC decides to pull in someone who has been indicted to tell you about how you shouldn't be indicted, how you shouldn't have to deal with security. Meanwhile, she just got arrested and has been indicted by a grand jury we're doing exactly or very similar to what Padilla did yesterday. This stuff is insane.
I think we should continue to do our oversight, right? We should continue to speak out, continue to not lay down for this administration. I think I've gotten a lot of support. I mean, maybe, folks might not think it's been public, but at the end of the day, people have been supportive. My colleagues have reached out. I mean, once again, this is a very expensive fight too. So obviously we have to raise to fight these folks. And, we just have to continue to do our jobs, but do it with all of the might that we have. We cannot lay down for them. We cannot just roll over and let them scare us out. And,
So some of you may be wondering, Barry, why are you showing this stuff? Because with everything getting ready to happen tomorrow, we are not looking at an adversary that wants to come to the table, negotiate, interact, talk, try to work things out, see what we can do to find some middle ground. Every single word out of every single one of these people's mouths, including the media, is nothing but let's fight. Let's not back down. Let's keep fighting. Let's rush into press conferences. Let's beat up on detention center, ICE agents, and Border Patrol. Let's do whatever we need to do to beat down the Republicans, MAGA. And so the importance here is for you to understand, because it's very hard for people who aren't pugilistic. It's very hard for people who aren't used to having to go toe-to-toe with somebody who wants you erased. They do not want you defeated. They don't want you to be silent. They want to do away with you. And I'm not necessarily talking about unaliving you. They don't want you to have a voice. They don't care about your vote. They don't care about your livelihoods. They don't care about your health. You are meaningless to them. And until you start realizing this is what they really, really think of you, you're just a means to an end. We must defeat you. I took a punch. They knocked me down. They're indicting me. But we're going to keep coming at you. And so your intestinal fortitude at this point is, what are you going to do about it? If you know your adversary, your opponent, your foe, wants nothing but to see your demise, how are you going to react to that? Ignore it? You can't. No matter where you are, no matter where you live. I live in paradise down here in South Florida. You may live out in a farm in Idaho. They're coming for us. They have made no bones about it. This is all about a continuing fight, an ongoing pledge to destroy America. And that's why I often talk, and you'll hear in some of my interviews, I talk to people, is people have the wrong mindset. This isn't about voting people out. We cannot vote our way out of this. We cannot prosecute our way out of it. You just heard her. We're going to keep fighting. Hey, listen, shouldn't you be like talking to your lawyers about cutting the deal right now? No. We're going to keep fighting. You can't prosecute your way out of this. You definitely can't vote your way out of this. So you have to do what they're doing. And that's where it becomes very, very hard for people in MAGA. Because it's not something that we all grew up with. We're supposed to respect authority. We're supposed to, be nice, love thy neighbor, everything we were taught. But now you've got this pit bull that just keeps charging. And it doesn't stop. You smack it and it just keeps coming. You smack it. And sooner or later, you guys need to wake up, those of you who haven't woken up, and realize it's never going to stop. It's going to keep nipping at you. Keep attacking. It's not going away. Those of us who voted on, in November and said, oh, Trump's in. Whew, that was tough. And then you sat back and you thought at this point it was going to be okay. It's not. Let me be that person to tell you, it's not going to be okay. You have to make it okay.
But to me, and I told people, it will continue to happen. Today, a United States senator, we're going to continue to see them doing this. It's going to continue to escalate because they're unhinged and they're cruel. This is a cruel administration. Their agenda is centered around cruelty. And this is what they do. I mean,
it couldn't be further from the truth, but it doesn't matter. You're a Nazi. Wear it with honor at this point. You're a fascist, you're a white supremacist, you're a Nazi, and you're a white supremacist even if you ain't white. I'm brainwashed. This is what they think of you. They're not kidding. They're not putting on a show. Have you ever met anything in a political sense where people speak this way of other people? Gestapo? All the crap that they keep saying? We're unhinged. We're the ones who are unhinged. We're the ones who are walking around in women's clothing, right? We're the ones who can't wait to rip babies out. That's us. Yeah, right? Yeah. Uh-huh. We're the ones running around in the street. It's amazing. They have one instance, January 6th, one instance where some people got together and were complaining about something, and they're never going to let that down. Everything is now measured in terms of January 6th. Even when these people do January 6th tomorrow, there's going to be January 6th across the whole flipping country. And it will never be the same as what happened on January 6th. Because those are just going to be peaceful protests. It's not the same as people that were up in Washington. Those people, they're crazy. Well, I don't remember pallets of bricks being delivered to the people on January 6th. I don't remember people throwing Molotov cocktails on January 6th. I do remember one small white woman getting shot and killed. How are you comparing this? Oh, it's the worst thing ever, but we're going to do that 2,000 times tomorrow. I say that because there's supposedly 2,000 protests scheduled for tomorrow. Let that sink in. 2,000. How much must that cost? And on top of everything, it's June 14th. It's Flag Day. It's Donald Trump's birthday. It's Army Day. It's all these days starting to go into the summer, and y'all got nothing to do but go out in the hot sun and protest? I'll be sitting out by the pool. We're going to be down there at the boat parade party, right, having fun. And all you guys can do is get together in the sun and complain.
It's just disgusting to see this happening. And I hope that Americans feel the same way, because we should not be governing this way. And we should be able to call out what's wrong, and what's right is what's right. And this is just a disgusting place for us to be in this country.
Congressman, when the...
America First is disgusting. And of course, nobody ever pushes back. Hey, what's disgusting? I mean, the fact that, we don't want newcomers populated all over this, the country. We want America to be better. We want lower taxes, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security. That's all disgusting. What is the disgusting part? Please tell us. We're cutting off aid to countries that nobody even can see on a map. We don't know how the different money has been filtered, and all of you Nigerian just sending billions of dollars out and expect us to be the hamsters that just keep running on the wheel, funding all this stuff. Tell me specifically what's disgusting.
And jury handed out its indictment on Tuesday.
Certainly, a more talented politician could have used that moment even deftly to make a talking point, or at the very least de-escalate it. Two pieces of audio from that clip we played earlier that should be worth repeating. Willie did one already. Senator Padilla clearly identified himself. The other, as...
All right, so in case you aren't like me and aren't deluged into the news cycle, this is the new spin. He has clearly identified himself. Clearly. What they don't tell you, and maybe you have seen, is he doesn't identify himself until he's already restrained. That's the big difference. He could have stood back in the back of the room. He could have yelled, Secretary Noem, yes, I'm Alex Padilla, a U.S. Senator. Oh, hey, Alex, how are you? Why didn't he do that? That would have been looking for recognition at the press conference. Every other reporter's there with their stenographer pad looking like this. Why did you have to run in? There is no reason, no decorum that allows you just to go ahead and bum rush somebody. This seems to be the new modus operandi in the Democrat Party. I deserve to be heard. Me first. Let me bust in. You could have walked in just like anybody else did, and you could have sat there, waited your turn, just like in every other press conference, and you could have raised your hand. And then you could have said, I am a U.S. Senator. But you didn't do that. But the news is trying to let their orcs think that's what happened.
Staffer follows the fracas into the hallway and is told by an agent, you can't record here, you can't record here. It's a news conference. Everyone was recording there. This is a United States senator. This is a co-equal branch of government trying to ask a question of the administration. That is...
He's showing the video while he's talking his poop. He's showing the actual video of this guy pushing, just like the black lady did when she was at the detention center. At one point, could he have not just put his guard down and said, excuse me, sir? You know how they always tell us, if you get approached by a cop, well, these guys are semi-cops. They're security, probably FBI, because I saw what Dan Bongino put. Don't put them on guard. Once you start pushing a law enforcement person, you're going to get what you're going to get. Hey, listen, guys. Hey, I understand you're doing your job. I'm Alex Padilla. I'm a U.S. Senator. All right, you got any ID? That's all it would have taken. But the media is now saying that they should... I don't know what they're saying. Are they saying they should have let him run in? And they didn't recognize him? I don't know who the hell you are. How do you expect other people who are charged with doing their job as security? It's not my position to know who the hell you are. My position is to make sure this woman on stage is protected. Now, I want to throw something else in the mix at you that nobody, that I may be the first person who says this to you. And I want you to think about it this way. While she's on stage talking, I'm pretty sure as secretary in the cabinet, she knew in advance, because I'm sure Trump talked about it, what was going to happen in Israel and Iran. So given the fact that they probably got notified, whether by signal or whatever, hey, listen, I want you to be on guard, Christy, because I understand you guys are out there in the field. You're already on guard because there's nuts out there who don't want you doing what you're doing. But now you got to be on super duper double alert because there's about to be bombs sent by Israel. So Dan, make sure the security knows to be extra on top of things because we don't know what word's going to get out. Nobody has thought about that. I didn't see one person say, they're probably even more heightened. He's probably lucky he didn't get shot. I'm not using hyperbole. I'm not being over dramatic. I'm telling you, and those of you in law enforcement would know, she probably was already briefed hours before it happened. Maybe weeks before it happened. And so, yes, the security at that point would be like, make sure you're ready. Don't know what's going to pop off here. Even though it hadn't happened yet. There hasn't been big booms and going on. Hadn't happened yet, but still the people involved in security would know of the imminent danger, imminent threat. So Christie's on stage, her security's right there. They've already been briefed, obviously, by Dan Bongino and Kash Patel. Be extra diligent. You don't think tomorrow at this parade, even though nothing has yet happened, that people at the parade aren't going to be, quote, extra diligent? I wouldn't fart in Washington tomorrow. I would, don't, I'm telling y'all, if you're going up there to protest, don't start nothing. You might not make it home. So with that being said, you have knowledge that more than likely Padilla didn't think about. I'm going to bum rush my way through here against a woman who's being guarded by FBI or Secret Service who already know there's an impending threat because Israel is about to go do business with Iran. You don't think there was itchy trigger fingers and whoa, hey, who are you? I don't recognize you. You're not really on TV all that much. You need to back off. It wasn't like Chuck Schumer walked in. It wasn't like Elizabeth Warren or even AOC walked in. You're Alex Padilla. Who the hell is Alex Padilla? I'm a senator from California. I'm going to have to check you out first, bro. I don't blame these guys in security one bit. Not one bit.
Part of the job description. And he is pushed out of the room, manhandled, pushed to the ground, handcuffed. David French, this feels like more. There's more going on here. This is not just a misunderstanding at a news conference. This feels like too many, like a sign of bad things to come. You just wrote recently about how you feel like America is no longer a stable country, in part of everything we've seen in Los Angeles this past week. We'll add this moment to that, where, again, a member of the legislative branch tries to ask a question of the executive branch, and for that, David, that person is thrown to the ground and briefly handcuffed.
See that lie? He was thrown to the ground and handcuffed because all he wanted to do was ask a question. You can tell these two Nimrods have never stood a post. You can tell these two Nimrods probably even had much of a fight, other than get maybe stuffed in a locker in high school. You have no idea. You've got no testosterone. There's none. There's none running through your bodies. You have no idea what men are capable of. Now, I want you to take some guys whose only single job, not sitting there in front of a microphone, oh, it's so bad what they're doing. No, I'm talking about guys whose single job is to make sure that you don't get anywhere. Go ahead and bum rush. Try to do that with somebody else. You can't do it. And so they're euphemizing it and trying to make the normies, or rather the abnormies and the orcs, believe that, this is out of the ordinary. It's not. I don't know where any senator is right now. Ron DeSantis might be here. Go up and run up the stage upon him. Go ahead, see what happens. If you don't get shot, you're going to be subdued. You are going to be handcuffed, because it's basically shoot first, we'll do the investigation afterwards. And what I mean by shoot first, subdue, manhandle, get under control, then they'll stand you up and say, who are you? All that stuff about the Quentin, Maximus, and other people tell you. I'm not going to just start talking to you, hey man, hey, who are, I'm going to take you down. I'm going to take you down hard, let you know who's in control, not you. I'm going to handcuff you. You're lucky you got handcuffed. Lucky you didn't get a couple knees to the head while you were down there. And then I'm going to stand you up and say, where's your ID? Who are? Oh, you're a senator, yeah. You should know better, bro. Don't you have security? Yeah. Well, what in the hell were you thinking? What were you thinking? Here, I'll uncuff you. Don't do that shit again. But they don't talk like, because these soy boys have no idea.
Look, even if you thought this person was just a member of the public who was interrupting, just trying to be disruptive and interrupt, I can see pushing them out of the room, but then putting them down on the ground and handcuffing them as if they've broken the law.
I don't even know how to respond to that. Many of you are probably older now, but you can remember being in high school and in college. You've gone to bars and, bouncers do stuff, or the cops come. They want to know who you are first, after they've subdued the threat, or even a potential threat. So I don't know if these guys are just, devoid of testosterone, have never been in a situation like that, who they just hang around and go to their wine parties. But it's absurd for them to think that, well, it could have been anybody. Why'd they do that to anybody? Oh, that's just it. It doesn't matter who you are. Remember this thing, nobody's above the law? It doesn't matter if you're John, a protester, or John, a senator. You do that kind of movement, you're going to get dealt with.
To this, that then the spin afterwards was just a lie. I have not seen any video, and I've yet to see any video that shows a lunge towards the secretary. He clearly identifies himself. So
they're showing the video while this guy's saying this. And I'm thinking to myself, this was probably the most subdued he was. Right there, the first guy's like, hey man, you can't go here. Right, as soon as you were confronted, that would have been time, the time to say, hi, I'm Senator Alex Padilla. I've got a question for Kristi Noem. That, right there, before anything else started, that would have been your time. Matter of fact, I'm surprised you got that close. I'm surprised that the guy who's, touching him on the chest right now, who's saying, hey, where you going? I'm surprised you got past 2 or 3 people and got that close as you were looking to do this. But I could not believe, as I'm watching this stuff yesterday, that they're showing the video and completely talking crap.
Here you have a situation where they put him in handcuffs when you absolutely had no need to do that at all, even if they genuinely thought he was just a member of the public interrupting. And then when this becomes public, you put out a statement that is...
I gotta rewind that for a second. You guys have got to see this. Hold on a second. Okay. That picture right there, where's Padilla's left hand? The agent has his right hand on Padilla's shoulder. The left hand, he's grabbing the FBI agent or Secret Service agent. He's got a handful of him. Again, maybe I'm too deep into this from what my experience is, but you better move your hand. Yeah, I mean, you better move your hand like real quick. Actually, I'm not even going to give you a chance to tell you to move your hand. You've now assaulted an agent. I'm probably going to break your arm at that point. Never mind handcuff you. And those of you guys in the chat who have done security, like, what? This dude's got his hand on me. I'm trying to be, decorum. I know there's a lot of cameras around, but yeah, the dude's holding me. And they don't even, part of the reason is, as he's saying this, he doesn't realize. That's the problem with television. I'm working my own board right now. He's talking to the guy on set. He doesn't know the stuff they're showing. And it just happens to show this while the guy's talking and saying, he didn't do anything wrong. Let me ask you a question. Forget press conference. Forget, I don't know, anything. Could you walk up to somebody in a restaurant and grab them? There's somebody sitting at the table, you're just going to grab them. Could you do that? No, hell no, you couldn't. And the picture's right there in front of him. He's looking at it. Yeah. And he's trying to say, oh, he didn't do nothing. He didn't do nothing. Oh, my goodness. That alone could have got you hurt.
And when this becomes public, you put out a statement that is incredibly easily disprovable, and you make arguments that are just disprovable from...
Look at his left arm. His left hand is up underneath this guy. This guy, with all due respect, Dan Bongino, do something about your boy. Let me just tell you, I don't know who this guy is. He was just doing his job. Do something about your boy. There's no way an assailant should get that kind of juxtaposition upon an agent. He'd have been, if that was me, he would have already been on the ground. Like, oh, hell no. You're going down. So it looks to me like the guy was trying to hold restraint, saying, hey, man, chill. Let's talk. No. And look at the guy's face. Look at Padilla's face. He's got anger on his face. So when you're in security, you're sizing all this stuff up. And like, hey, you're not smiling. You're not saying, hey, what's going on, bro? No, look at his face. You are telling me, as I'm the one doing security, you are telling me you are possibly a threat. And now you're touching me? Good luck with that.
On the tape. And so this is yet another example of when we have a conflict in this country right now, and you have two branching paths. One is towards de-escalation.
You're throwing bows at me, bro? You're gonna throw the elbow at me? these people at MSNBC are absolute morons. They're showing this while this guy's talking, and this guy doesn't know that the producer somewhere is hitting buttons and showing video or still images specifically of this guy acting like an ass. I'm taking the time to go through this with you so you guys can see step by step, because they've slowed it down into still frames, very slow as to what transpired. So you can get on X or talk to friends and go, no, did you know that he put his hands on the guy? No, I didn't know that. Did you know he grabbed the security guy, who happens to be probably an armed Secret Service or FBI agent? And why I accentuate armed is because that's the next thing that's going through this guy's security. I don't know who this dude is. He's being confrontational. He's touching me. I now have to worry that he may go for my gun. And all this is going through this guy's mind simultaneously. And the last thing he's wondering is, could this guy be a senator? I don't know. This guy might be a senator. No. He's like, he's charging. He's grabbing me. My gun's right here. All this stuff is going through his mind right there. And he's still trying to use proper decorum, which is insane.
And then the other one is towards escalation. This administration is taking that escalation path every single time, especially when it comes to its domestic political opponents. And this is fraying the stability of this country. As this was happening, you're also seeing reports on Twitter of these shouting matches on the House floor, people screaming at each other. And it did have, when you're reading about flashpoints in American history, where America starts to feel as if it's coming off the rails, you will have the personal conflicts that are online, that are around the nation, start to spill into the halls of power. And we're just seeing this, and time and again, they're choosing to escalate, not de-escalate.
Secret Service officials tell NBC News they interviewed the senator after.
Look, he doesn't realize that he's talking while this is being shown. Any reasonable person with a working frontal lobe can look at this and go, that's not normal. That is conduct unbecoming a senator. It's not, those guys didn't do anything wrong. It's not MAGA. That's just how it goes.
For the incident, quickly determined he had no intention to harm the secretary and was not charged. So, Maria Teresa Kumar, obviously that is a very jarring scene to see a United States senator forcibly removed, thrown to the ground, and handcuffed and arrested. What do you make of what we saw there? I mean, you can quibble with his tactics, perhaps, that he shouldn't have charged in there maybe, but he clearly identified himself. What do you make of what we saw yesterday?
See, one of the things as you're watching this, I know some of you guys will, Barry, it's garbage. I understand. But you have to understand what's in their mindset and what they're telling their people. Because they're basically trying to let every one of their orcs know this could happen to anybody. Oh my God. Yes, it could happen to anybody. It should happen to anybody. You should expect it. You cannot invade someone's personal space. You cannot invade someone's personal property without being dealt with. And what I think we're seeing, what I truly feel, is fear. I'm smelling fear. They're realizing, probably for the first time really, maybe the one in New Jersey, but now they're realizing these guys ain't effing around, are they? Nope. And it's starting to set into these people like, what do we do? They're not taking our crap anymore. They're snatching people off the street. The lady on the horse is whipping people over the head. And they're surprised because it never happened before. When I talk to Mahek, and she's going to be mentioning that as well, is like, this is something that these people aren't used to. We're supposed to be able to protest and do whatever we want. We can burn stuff. We can break windows. We can loot. Yeah, all that, right? We can do that. And now they're seeing pushback. Oh, they didn't expect to see military in California. Oh, no, we're not supposed to see that. That's not supposed to happen. They're supposed to be just the local police that are going to take us down to the pokey and we're going to fingerprint and everything, and then they're going to let us out in 2 hours. Give me a sandwich. This is federal. This is MAGA. This is you. This is me. And we're not taking it. We will drag your ass off the street or run you over. That what you're seeing, people, is fear. This is fear personified. And they don't know what to do. I mean, I'm going to show you, some people are actually crying. I mean, tears, crying. Because they now realize that tactic, your own communist tactic, it only works when everybody else is, submissive. Oh, turn the other cheek. Oh, I can't be this way. Oh, no, be that way, especially this weekend. Don't give people the second opportunity to come at you. Believe it if they step towards you. It was funny when I was downtown and I went to that protest with the old people, and Robin's like, I was worried that somebody was going to come up on you. And I'm like, and she goes, oh, I should have known. Yeah, don't worry, I got me. If they looked stupid or decided to do something, they would have been dealt with harshly. And more people, you, when you leave your house and your head's on a swivel, you need to know at this point, don't put up with this crap.
I think, first of all, he didn't charge. He was asking questions. But let's take a step back, Willie. Let's assume that she did not hear him identify himself. How many times have we witnessed leaders at a podium, whether we're talking about Senator McCain, whether we were talking about Bush, whether we're talking about Obama, even Secretary Mayorkas, how many times have they been in a place where they are heckled at the podium? And
see, that's the part I just said to you. How many times did Bush, and we got away with all this stuff with them, and this is Trump time. Trump time is not going to allow you guys to play that crap anymore. This is what's shocking them. She just said it. We've seen it all the time. People got we're done. We're done with that. And I'm sorry if my attitude seems kind of cavalier and cocky, but I feel that way every single time I leave the house with Robin. My grandson was here in town this week, as you guys know, and every time I went out with him, it was all smiles, but I was all eyes. I was making sure every single time, what's going on? What's going on around me? What am I going to have to do if something breaks out here? We, he's up in North Carolina, and he came down to the camp here at FAU. And, I had talked to a few of my friends, and they were like, he's about to run to some of these boys from Liberty City and Opelika. And I'm like, as long as they're just fast and they're good on the field, that's fine. Let's start nothing out there in camp. And so there were parents out there who were looking at some of the athletes from the hood, and okay, they're fast and they're strong. Nobody started nothing. It was perfect. It was a perfect day. Hot, but perfect. But everybody watches. And everybody makes sure. These people aren't used to that. She just told you. We did it during Bush, and we did it during this and that. Not anymore. Sorry.
They do what is right, what leaders do. They de-escalate the situation. They basically say, you know what, I can't take your question now, but perhaps afterwards. That is the job of a leader. You have Secretary Noem, who is charged with 250,000 agents around the country, and she cannot de-escalate a basic press conference. Instead...
Why? You hear what she's saying? She should back down. That's what she's saying. She should call off the dogs and back down. Do not be offensive. Do not be on watch. De-escalate. Hell no. We are done de-escalating. That is no longer a word in our vocabulary. Do you know how you de-escalate? Don't start nothing. That's how you de-escalate. We ain't gonna bother you. We're gonna live our lives. Don't F.A. and you won't get the F.O. This is something that they need to shake into the Democrats right now and go, those days are over. Over. As long as Trump is in office and what we've been given the ability, and like somebody in the chat just said, we now have backup. We know, at least I know down here, I know what the police think. I know what the stadies think. I know what the sheriffs think. And they're all like, don't start nothing, won't be nothing. That's not how it used to be. My buddy, who's I can't say, he's a sheriff in another county, and his boss I'll leave that there, is one of the few in the state that was, a kneeler. And it's really taken its toll on the other guys because they're like, this idiot. They'll get in trouble if they do certain things. So you got guys transferring out because, sorry, ain't going to deal with this. The Democrats need you to be pacifist. I'm not saying you need to be a pugilist, but you need to be a pugilist at the ready. Understand, no matter who you are, what you are, have your head on a swivel, be on guard, smile, have fun, but watch. Don't let anybody try you. And that's what they're having a problem with. They're realizing right now, we can't do that anymore. Nope, can't do it.
Has to go to the maximum where they have to handcuff a sitting senator. That actually goes to a broader issue. Is she the right person for this job? Does she understand that right now, if she cannot control a press conference, how can we make sure that there are not going to be rogue ICE agents, rogue folks that are going to interfere and violate people's constitutional rights simply because...
What people? What people's constitutional rights are you referring to? I love watching these shows because I catch them as they vomit on themselves. Oh, how can we be sure they're not going to violate people's constitutional rights? What people? Oh, the illegals? Those people? Guess what, honey? We're coming for them. Tom Homan is coming for them. Get used to it. And even with them, arrest them first, detain them, handcuff them, and then they can go tell their story. How many times have you seen in a movie, tell it to the judge? I don't care, tell it to the judge. I'm making sure I go home at night. These people ain't ready for what they started.
Because she does not have the authority or the ability to actually rein her in. I believe that there was someone from the White House that called her and said, you know what, you really messed up right now. You have to go now, sit down and talk to the senator. I have to tell you that I have known Alex Padilla for a very long time. In his character, he is someone that is staid. This is perhaps the most excited I've ever seen him. And in part is because he is someone that is very methodical, very thoughtful in the way he actually engages with his community. And he was there simply.
Again, there's somebody talking who's not seeing the pictures that the producers are putting on the screen. If they did, I'd be like, Ixnay, take the pictures down. It makes me look like a flipping idiot. And I don't care that you know Alex Padilla. Doesn't matter to me. Those guys didn't. That's the problem. And she's like, Carrie Nome should control it? It's not my job. I'm the Secretary of the Board of Homeland Security. I have guys who take care of that stuff. And ladies. It's not my job to control the crowd. If you're in a band, you're playing your instrument. It's not your job to control the people. You go to a basketball game, it's not even LeBron's job to control the people in the stands. So how the hell is it Kristi Noem's job? Well, wait a second, that guy there, yeah, I recognize him, he's good, let him in. No, it doesn't work that way. Your fear is palpable.
Doing his job, he asked a simple question. He was in a federal building where he had to go through security. He was escorted by security into that conference room. So I do think that the question is much larger. Did the, folks are saying, well, what did the Secret Service do? They were doing their job. But her job at the podium as the head of ICE is to de-escalate situations, and she absolutely failed.
You guys remember, I don't know how long ago, maybe 15, 20, 30, I don't know, where George Bush was giving a speech somewhere over in the Middle East. I don't remember where it was. And as he's giving the speech, some guy whips off his sandal and tosses at George Bush. Was George Bush supposed to stop his speech and go, excuse me, can we talk? I don't want you to be upset right now. Let me de-escalate things. No. You threw a sandal at him, and probably 4 or 5 guys in black suits descended and dragged the guy out. And then they probably handcuffed him, and they flipped him over, and they searched him. And then they said, do you have any ID? And by the way, is this yours? Is this your sandal? This sandal, is it yours? As they're whacking him in the head with it. She just vomited all over MSNBC and had no clue what hell she was talking about, that it's up to that person, Kristi Noem, to de-escalate. No, the escalation is on. We are at DEFCON, whatever, 1, 2, 3. We're ready. We are ready. You need to be ready. You all in the chat, you need to be ready. Let's go.
So talk to us about the moment from Senator Padilla as it pertains to what we will see tomorrow, which is this military parade in Washington, but also protests. We're supposed to be peaceful protests around the country.
Listen, the first words in that video that we see out of Senator Padilla's mouth is, I am an a U.S. senator. So he made that abundantly clear, and still they used such a degree of force. I think it's incredibly chilling. This is a man who got 6 million votes.
So what I'd like you guys to do is tomorrow, just run into a store, do whatever you want, and say, I'm so-and-so. No. What you're seeing is spin of epic proportions. They're trying to let you think that you can just say something and everybody in the room is supposed to just take what you're saying as gospel. You can't. So they're in full force right now to try and beat people down into thinking you can never question a senator. At first, if they say they're a senator, you have to assume that they are. The assumption comes before verification. No.
He represents nearly 40 million Californians, where these raids, by the way, are taking place, and he has an oversight role in the Senate over immigration and the Department of Homeland Security. So I think it's a very chilling moment. Some Republican senators have criticized it as well. I think it speaks to the fact that Donald Trump's been very clear.
What Republican? Please do show me. Maybe if you guys know, you guys please show me what Republican senators have criticized this. When I heard it, I'm like, I haven't seen one. And I'd love to know that with those, she said senators. So there have been Republican senators who have criticized this? Please do tell who they are. I would love to know what they expect their security detail to do.
Any form of protest he is going to respond to. And we've obviously got this military parade celebrating the 250th anniversary of the U.S. Army taking place tomorrow. And I think that there are genuine fears over, if any sort of demonstrations and protests happen, what they're going to be met with. And just, again, I said this when you and I last talked, Donald Trump is misreading the room if he thinks that Americans want to see a clash between armed National Guard and U.S. protesters who are assembling.
Talk about misreading the room. Okay, so we're at the point where we've had lie after lie. I guess she doesn't realize that we want this. We want more. It's not enough. We want to see buses. We want to see tent cities. We want to see them get as many of them out. Do whatever you need to do. I'm tired of watching people block traffic. I'm tired of watching people loot. I'm tired of watching people burn buildings. I'm tired of watching people burn too. I'm tired of it. I want somebody to say, no, this isn't allowed. You want to peacefully protest? Walk up and down the sidewalk with a sign. Just like most of the union people have done for decades. They can't do that. They need to go the extra mile. And now that somebody's responding, they're freaking out. No. Get your butts on the sidelines, keep moving, walk with your sign, not in the road, definitely not throwing anything. I don't even know how LAPD didn't have body bags. They're throwing stuff off the bridge down at cars. They're lighting things on fire. And they're saying, can you de-escalate? No. I know down here, if that had happened, Ron DeSantis would have rolled out the National Guard in force first night. It wouldn't have gotten that far. You think people down Worth Avenue is on Palm Beach. You think you're gonna walk up and down Worth Avenue and you're gonna riot and break the stores? Ain't gonna happen.
That's just not something that Americans want to see. There's a way to do crowd control. There's a way to do anti-riot responses with police officers. That is not bullying up people who are demonstrating their First Amendment right to protest. So I think
somehow they've conflated First Amendment with burning stuff, with doing whatever they want. And this woman I believe she used to work in the Trump 1 administration. And so now they're trying to regain some kind of control. They're trying to figure out, how do we deal with this? And you can't. The escalation is not ours to de-escalate. It's for you not to start it to begin with. You know the old saying, don't start nothing, won't be nothing. It completely applies here.
Going to be all eyes on tomorrow's events and really hopeful that it stays peaceful, but he's certainly conveying that he will tolerate no protesting.
This was one of the bleakest days of anchoring that I've ever had in the job. I mean, I think were prepared, on the losing side of the November contest for Trump to do things that we warned he would do in his embrace of autocracy and Orban and Putin and others. But as your former colleague Ben Rhodes said on my show today, I mean, Orban hasn't done this. This is, he's to the autocratic, right of Orban. And to be doing what they're doing in full view of the cameras really does make the mind expand in new directions in terms of wondering what...
I'm laughing because I'm happy. I'm happy that they finally realized it ain't like it used to be. I'm happy that they're having to deal with the fact that your butts might end up in jail, that you might end up in handcuffs, and you might be federally charged, and that means you're going to get taken off the street for, quite some time. I like the idea. It makes me happy that they're upset. And Barry's like, why are you making, happy with their misery? Because it's unfounded misery. The misery that they're feeling is meant to be at your expense. They can't be the bully anymore. They can't do what they want to do. They can't force you into submission. And they're losing that grip that they used to have. The media, nobody's watching them. They're all trying to do podcasts. Nobody's watching them. The politicians, they got nothing. Nothing. And so at this point, the only thing they have is these idiots that want to cause violence. And if they don't have that, then they absolutely have nothing. The fact that Trump wants to tamp down on this stuff, he's not taking away your right to, quote, peacefully protest. He's taking away your non-right to be an idiot. If people show up tomorrow at these rallies and they're walking around with signs, have at it. You see, the problem is they realize now it's no longer effective. You, me, we drive by and go, look, idiots. We pay no attention. They're not getting your attention. They're not egging on a response if they don't get violent. And that's what their problem is that they're basically irrelevant. Nobody cares. Nobody cares at all what they say, what they do. So in order to try and make you care, in order to try and make you pay attention to them, they're like a little child having a temper tantrum. And so they need to be dealt with like little children. I'm tired of it. I'm over it. And yes, I got my cut here. So let me play it here. There we go.
I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care.
I was waiting for that. The I don't care moment. I've been telling you about it. I forget what movie that was with Judy Garland, but I was sitting there watching with Robin like, I gotta have that. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care that you're upset. I don't care that you're having to deal with it and that you're having to change your tactics. I don't care. Your money means nothing. If you step out of line, you need to be dealt with. So let's continue.
They're doing to people who don't have, who aren't one of a body of 100 and where there aren't cameras rolling. I think it's a chilling moment, both in the treatment of someone from the other political party, but I think it's also a really ominous sign of what they're willing to use DHS, and those were FBI agents who had the senator on the ground. Dan Bongino confirmed that in a statement. And it's a real, what the fuck are we doing moment, I think, for the whole country.
And see, that's another thing that they've been doing lately. Trying to, be with the cool kids. Let's go ahead and say F as much as possible. Eric Swalwell is taking that to a whole nother level. Nothing is working for them. Imagine you're one of these people on MSNBC or CNN, and every single day you beat the same drum. And then every single day you see Trump's numbers going like this. Getting higher and higher and higher. And you must think to yourself, what is it going to take? How are we going to get people to not like him, to not support him, not follow him? Instead of just realizing, because a smart political opponent would sit back and go, okay, so people like his policies. Why don't we find out what the things that people who like him don't like, and maybe we can amplify that. And that could be, he's not doing enough this. But there's nothing, there's nothing in their ideology that regular Americans want. Their entire platform of tax, overtax, illegals, baby removal, all of it, censorship, nobody wants it. The only way they could get in power was to, as we know, take it. And now we're no longer going to take it. And so there is nothing that they can offer you. Nothing. If you sat in a room with some Democrat politicians and you're like, look, tell me, win my vote. You got 30, 40 seconds. Go for it. What are you offering me to tell me to come vote for you? Kamala Harris says she wants to tax your unrealized capital gain. Bye. Don't talk to me about those people wearing the flag this month and everything. I don't care about that either. Don't tell me about boys playing girl sport. There's nothing. Think about it. I want to be reasonable. And I sit here and think to myself, what would a Democrat politician have to do to get me to be a Democrat voter? I've actually asked myself that. You should ask yourself that as well from time to time. Because you want to make sure how your ideology and where on the spectrum it is. And so right off the bat, my personal one is safety, as most people. I want to make sure this country is safe. I want to make sure my neighborhood's safe. The next thing is taxes. Yours may not be in the same order. I want to pay less taxes. I want government out of the way. Let business do what it needs to do. I don't want any censorship. I don't want boys playing girl sports. Let's see what else here. I don't want to be forced to take something I don't want to take. And on. And as you're saying it even to yourself, you're looking at a Democrat going, so you don't want none of that, right? You want to be the opposite of what I want. There's no commonality. None. Absolutely none. And that's what they're realizing at this point, and that's what the purpose of today's video was, is tomorrow, as you see the parade, they don't even want that. They want nothing. Nothing that you have your favorite ideology. So imagine that crossroads we're at, where you've got two sections of people in this country that have nothing in common. Nothing. Hey, I like the flag. You like the flag and what it stands for? I hate the flag. You people suck. Okay. You believe in God? No. Okay. Can a man be a woman? There's nothing. I couldn't imagine being in college and being in the dating pool at this point. I mean, it's funny. How would you date somebody? And just imagine you're a freshman in college and you see the cuties running around, girl or boy, and you sit down and say, "Hey, how you doing? I'd like to, let me find out something about you." See, in the old days, we would start, "Hey, would you like a beer?" Because we're at the keg party. Now it's like, before we go any further, you got junk or you non-junk? Because I can't tell anymore these days. Okay, I need to know if you're junk or junk free. If you got junk, we're done already. All right, let's just stop right now. All right, you're junk free. Were you previously junked, or are you always junk free? I was always junk free. All right, now we can continue talking. I couldn't imagine. I could not imagine being a young person these days, talking to somebody and wondering how much. I have to have like a pre-screening. Okay, so you like the flag? No, America sucks. Have a good day. It would end really quick. I feel so sad for my grandson and thinking, he's going to go to college and he's going to be, BMOC, play football and everything else. And I remember when I played football and it was an amazing experience. And now you just have to wonder, am I going to offend this person? If I put on this music, if I put on some Kid Rock, are they going to go, oh my God, oh my God? Think about the things that you hold dear, the things that you did as a young person, and now you got to deal with this insanity.
John, talk about that a little bit more, because I keep hearing from members of Congress that something that is new at the moment since the second Trump administration is that there is a level of violence implied towards members of Congress. They say to me, look, it's not just that I'm feeling under threat, it's also that, my family might be feeling under threat. What are you hearing about how much more threats of violence there are and how this kind of incident doesn't calm things down, but it provokes people to more violence?
Now, if you didn't know, excuse me, if you didn't know, because it's on this show, what she was talking about, what would you be thinking? People are really worried about the threat of violence, and what we've been seeing, things look like they could be worse. You talk about the riots? You talking about people launching cinder blocks at police cars? Oh, no, you're talking about Alex Padilla and people feeling threatened.
People to more violence.
Oh, you're exactly right. I mean, almost all public officials, including perhaps most frighteningly judges, who are supposed to be the umpires, who are supposed to be part of the field but have a certain authority, are in I don't want to say an unprecedented threat environment, to use that term of art, but it is a real, tactile sense of menace in the country. And I think what David has written about so well is our point's really well taken.
As I'm watching that again, it just dawned on me. You're a U.S. Senator. You probably have security. Number one, where was it? Did you ditch them? Because your security, as you walked in, would have said to these guys, hey, how you doing? Yeah. They probably knew each other or know of each other. So that's interesting. Number two, as a U.S. Senator, wouldn't you know not to get into a physical confrontation? Wouldn't you know as soon as somebody said, stop? Wouldn't you think to yourself, I'm an esteemed senator. I don't want to get into a physical confrontation right now. You come running in, hey, hold up here, please. What's wrong, sir? I don't know who you are. All right. Then you tell them, you think that it's okay for a U.S. senator to engage in a shoving match? That just dawned on me as I was looking at this. Wait a second. I think we're watching, you guys remember John Hostman. I forget what the show that he had where he would sit there in a chair and he would tell you about the theater, about the movie, the theater, and the show you're about to see. I think this is a show. I think many of us are now realizing there's too many what? Huh? What? There's too many of those things that happen. Even just now, I just thought of that, is as soon as this guy showed you that you were not going to get in, as a U.S. Senator and understanding decorum, hopefully you have some, wouldn't you have just stopped? Why didn't he de-escalate?
Part of what's happened, I think, Kay, is, well, first of all, the historical point you asked about. The last time it was this bad, not to shake everybody's Friday morning even more than it's already shaken, given what's going on, was the pre-Civil War period, where you had an extraordinary amount of...
Oh, these guys think so highly of themselves. As devoid of testosterone as they are, it's never been this bad since, pre-Civil War. Ah! Oh, gosh. Not the 60s, no. The 1860s. Oh, you're going all the way back. So you're not talking about the civil rights movement. You're not talking about women's suffrage. You're going all the way back to before the Civil War. Oh, these people are sick puppies.
Political violence. And we know how the 1850s turned out. And so these are signs of a deeper condition within the country, which is a fraying, I believe, of a kind of consensus, not about policy, but about politics not as total war, but as a mediation of differences. That's what a democracy, that's what a constitutional system should be. And the prevalence of violence is useful to, politically useful for, in this case, the administration, and very dangerous. And
violence and protocol are two very different words. I say the word protocol because any of us who have done, security, Maximus, I understand he's in here today, other policemen, that wasn't violent. That was protocol. Now they are assuming that police shouldn't be doing their jobs. And according to everything else, now police aren't supposed to do anything. You're being violent. I hate to break it to you, but I remember the movie Roadhouse with Patrick Swayze. You're nice until it's not time to be, time not to be nice anymore. I don't do anything. I am not going to lash out. I am sitting here with my arms crossed. I'm just surveying. I'm not bothering anybody. I'm not being violent. The violence comes to me. I could see it if I was standing there and just went, you know what? I'm just going to go beat on that guy right there. I don't like the way he's dancing. I'm just going to go beat on this guy. No, that's not how it works. You see, what they're trying to do with the gaslighting here is to equate protocol to violence. My protocol is to make sure everybody is safe in here. My protocol is keep your eyes open, watch what happens. My protocol is something doesn't look right. Something looks like it's not supposed to happen this way. Now my protocol says act. It's not being violent. I'm reacting to a situation. And then once I begin reacting, unfortunately, it's not going to go well for the person you're reacting against. And you're going to have 3 or 4 guys, like you just saw, take you down. They don't understand it, and the reason they don't understand it because they never had to deal with it.
I always hate the phrase both sides. Both sides, everyone needs to take a deep breath. Everyone needs to remember that what makes America truly great is the rule of law, is the capacity of the country to resolve crises, to resolve issues through the courts, through the legislative process, through the means and mediation of politics. And this prevalence of violence is a sign that we are not living up to that covenant.
And you've been writing about how you think that most Americans still want Trump to deport illegal immigrants, that they haven't wavered on the interest in his goal. Of course, they're now not approving of the way he's doing it. What's your indication of that, though? Just some of the recent polling, or are you starting to see more in the world you write for?
So there is this polling, right, that's essentially 55% of people said in the CBS YouGov poll that was released this week that they like Donald Trump's goals on deportation. And then almost the exact same amount, 56%, said that they don't like the way that he's going about doing it. They don't like the approach that he's taken to doing this. That tells me that
Yeah, I believe that. Yeah, go ahead and deport people, but don't be rough on them. Oh, no, don't be rough on them. Again, BS. How do you expect this to happen? No, you don't know?
There is some number of people, a significant number of people who want him to do this, and they're not comfortable with the way he's doing it. You can see some other clues as well. David Valadao is a congressman from the Central Valley in California, a Republican, a moderate Republican. He came out earlier this week, gave a statement that said the violence in Southern California is bad. Also, I'm concerned about these.
Very close to a but.
Exactly. I think that is very significant. He has signed on to a letter with four or five other members, Republican members of the House, asking for information about are there people who are not violent criminals being pulled up in this dragnet? That tells me
Say that again. So you now have a Republican saying, we need data on who actually has a criminal record here.
To the administration, we provide you with the funds to do this. Please tell us who you're pulling up and trying to deport here. That tells me that there is a concern in communities that may have supported Donald Trump that this is going, this could go too far for them. That's what I'm going to be watching. Yeah.
Okay,
yes.
Margaret, let me let you jump.
You guys believe that? For an instant? that people in MAGA who voted for President Trump think it's going too far? I don't. I really don't. Some of you guys may be wondering, why did you talk so much about that? And I did see somebody say, you're beating a dead horse. No. That horse is beating itself. What I'm trying to do is make sure that everybody understands what is happening and how it affects you and how you need to react. Especially this weekend. 2,000 protests across the country. I don't know what your police departments are like where you live. I don't know what kind of, protection they're going to afford. I don't know how these people are going to pop off. But it's obvious at this point they're at their basically last straw. There's nothing else for them to do but to have widespread violence. And then on top of all that, let's put the cherry on top and go, Israel and Iran are lopping bombs over at each other. And we don't know how that's going to affect sleeper cells and other people on the ground here. So you're going to put 2,000 protests, some of them as high as like 50,000 people all across the country, while a new war just started and while President Trump is promoting the military. That's why I spend so much time on it. I don't know where you live. I know we should be pretty well protected down here, but you need to keep your head on a swivel. These people aren't used to it. Now they're going to lash out even more. And there's probably some police departments that are just going to look the other way. That's crazy. So I wanted to, getting ready to do my interview with Mahek. I want you guys to see that. And then after her interview, we'll do the Rumble Jump Over. It's 7:30. So right now, I just want to talk to you about gold and silver. As you heard Ann Vandersteel yesterday, when times are unsettling, well, today, or actually the futures for Monday, because of Israel and Iran going crazy over there, the stock market futures looks like Monday's going to take a dump. When I checked before I went on, it looks like the futures for Monday, in case you don't know what I mean by futures, they do buys and sells over the weekend. And so right now, it's down 770 points, which would mean come Monday, poof, because of all the uncertainty. Doesn't make any sense, but it's so much emotion. And so in that regards, if you are in a position, you may want to be looking at gold and silver. We're in a very volatile time right now. There's plenty of financial uncertainty. Now is not the time to be speculative. And I'm also speaking from a personal perspective. I'm buying income-producing real estate, and I'm buying gold and silver. A lot of people don't know the difference between the economy and the stock market. And too many people listen to the news and social media. That'll get you in trouble. Let's face it. It's obvious that a lot of people have an agenda they're not telling you about. Right now, your best bet is stability. And that means you might need to build a hedge against global volatility. May I recommend gold and silver to you? Real gold and real silver. Not paper, not certificates. Actual gold and silver. What gold and silver can give you is absolute peace of mind. A stock is only as good as the company behind it. It's merely a piece of paper. One of the things I can tell you is that many people are finding out the hard way that some of their investments were built on quicksand. Gold will never be worth zero. Silver will never be worth zero. If you want to calm some of your fears, give my friends at Lear Capital a call today at 800-601-5430 or go to learberry.com. Just so you know, Lear Capital has over 27 years of experience, thousands of 5-star reviews, and over $5 billion in trusted transactions. And Lear is the only gold company with a 24-hour risk-free purchase guarantee. You don't pay unless you're 100% satisfied. So go to learberry.com. If you want peace of mind, give my friends at Lear Capital a call at 800-601-5430. Or look down here below and go to learberry.com. And don't forget to ask about getting up to $15,000 in free gold or silver with a qualifying purchase. Don't wait. Do it now. Nobody knows what tomorrow holds. Be safe. I just want to say thank you to the Fanfare community. And if you're new here, I'd like to take a moment and welcome you. If you watch my videos, you've probably realized at this point that this isn't your usual podcast. The difference is that every single day I try to make this show an open conversation amongst friends. You see, I believe that speaking to friends, here and in your own circle offline, is the best way to push back against all the lies being told by the Democrats and the media. I encourage people in this community to welcome each other, and in doing so become a source of support for those seeking to unplug from the matrix. If you'd like to communicate on a deeper level, I invite you to subscribe to the channel, but if you'd really like to surround yourself with like-minded patriots, join our free and private X group by going to fanfareshop.org/group. When you join this free group, a few things will happen. One, if you haven't used X before, you can use X without venturing into the sewer that it sometimes can be. Two, you can share content with friends that you meet here. 3, you will get notified every time I go live, so you can't count on YouTube notifications. And 4, and this might be most important, you get content that I can't share on YouTube or Rumble. So please take a moment and join our free and private X group. Just go to fanfareshop.org/group. Remember, it's members only. There are 16,000 plus people in that group right now, getting close to 17,000. To join our free and private members only X group, just go to fanfareshop.org/group. We'll see you there.
Welcome back to...
All right, everybody, I've got a great interview with you today. Somebody who's been in the thick of things. I've got Mehek Cook. Mehek Cook here. This is her X page. You can go to it. Mehek Cook. She's an attorney, a commentator on Fox News, CNN, Newsmax, GOP strategist, Trump surrogate. She's doing everything she can to help President Trump move forward. I feel completely privileged to have her on today, especially with what she's going to talk about and how timely it is. Mehek, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
So before we start, you put something up. I've never been, and I just thought it was phenomenal, both the timing and I just wish I could go there. You had posted this about your trip to Israel. I just got back from Israel. I sat with families, walked with soldiers, listened to leaders, and hugged strangers who are now my friends. It's complicated, deeply so. But one thing isn't. Iran is a terror threat. I stand with Israel and pray tonight. Join me. Oh, that's such a beautiful picture right there. So, when did you go and when did you get back?
So, Barry, I went a couple weeks ago for an 8-day trip to really learn about the conflict that Israelis are facing. And what was so interesting about this trip was it wasn't just the Israeli perspective. We actually had groups from the IDF come in. We had Palestinian negotiators come in. We spoke to everyday Israelis, and then we also had the Arab Israeli perspective. So I wasn't sitting there looking for a perspective. I was trying to figure out if there is a solution tomorrow to move forward for Israel. And that picture that you just put up, that's actually 0.2 miles away from Gaza. So there are bombs behind me that are exploding as we're standing there. And I went there because I wanted to see the October 7th sites. I wanted to see the devastation. I wanted to hear from individuals on the ground on what happened.
Wow. Well, you wrote in your post, which really caught my eye, it's complicated, pause, deeply so. If you could expound on that, what's complicated and so deeply complicated?
Well, I think it's deeply complicated because when we sit back today in the United States of America, we don't fully understand until you go to Israel and you learn. As a American today, looking at the humanitarian part of this, you don't want individuals harmed, innocent lives, and civilians on both sides. I'm talking Israelis. I'm also speaking about the Palestinian people. That is complicated to sit here and then see photos and videos of death, destruction, and civilization being destroyed on a daily basis. I also witnessed, I was there.
Yeah.
Bombs being thrown in Israel where I'm running to a bomb shelter. Can you imagine I'm a mother of two. Every single night, dragging my kids to a bomb shelter. That is what Israelis are doing. They're fighting for their life. So at some point, as Americans, we have to understand this is a complicated matter that can't be resolved from images. Go there, study it before we speak about it. And that's why I think it's deeply complicated.
And so on one side, you've got the Palestinian fight that's happening and terrorist attack. And now on this side, with what just happened last night, you've got an actual war breaking out with Iran. They did very well in their strikes, supposedly. Took out a lot of Iran's strategic spots and their leaders. And Iran obviously is going to retaliate. What do you think is going to happen in Israel, and what's Iran's capacity to retaliate?
Well, I want to step back and just tell you the Palestinian and Gaza conflict is an Iran conflict. Iran has proxies. It really has been Israel against many of the countries that Iran has put proxies in to try and annihilate them. So I have looked at this as the Iranian conflict. This is not the Israeli conflict. This is Iran. Since the 80s, they have been building nuclear weapons. We have tried. This is our sixth. It would have been our sixth negotiation with Iran to say, stop building nukes. So what I think is going to happen is President Trump was very clear. Let's sit back and look at U.S. diplomacy today. President Trump said on May 12th, you have 60 days, Iran. Well, this was the 61st day.
Right.
We knew that Israel has been preparing to annihilate these nuclear facilities, and that's exactly what happened. And for Iran to show no humility, to get on Twitter and to threaten Israel and the United States, that is going to be a devastating play for them. So I don't know how they attack, because Israel was able to take out so many of their leaders that they are really scrambling today to figure out what happened, how did this occur, and how do we attack. And my message to Iran today is 61st day. You're late, but come to the table, because this is the art of negotiation to protect the civilians and the individuals that don't want a conflict today.
But unfortunately, their ideology doesn't allow them to come to a table and negotiate. And then on top of that, like President Trump said, the guys they were negotiating with are no longer there. So if the head of the snake has been effectively chopped off, who is it that they're going to be able to negotiate with?
Well, at this point, Barry, I think that Iran is going to look for any military soldier that they can put at the top of the operation. And you nailed it. I always push for negotiation and peace because I think it's extremely important. It's a promise that President Trump made to Americans. He promised us peace and prosperity. In this situation, though, we're not dealing with individuals. We're dealing with ideologues that believe and chant death to Israel and death to America. When you are grown and brought up in that type of environment as a young child, they're indoctrinated to hate Western civilization and democracy. So I don't see a path forward. The only way to move forward was to take out Iran's nuclear facilities, and Israel made that first play, and it was extremely important. They're going to secure peace in the Middle East. Their heroic act last night is going to be a game changer for everybody, including Americans.
Now, the scary part about us here is Biden let the border go wide open. We don't know who's here. We don't know what they're capable of. I understand last night one of the things that did come out was that there was a drone farm built inside of Iran that the Iranians never knew about. Who knows if that's been done here? They may not be able to retaliate with a military force, but what are you thinking about terrorism, both in Israel and here?
Well, Barry, we have terrorism. We have domestic terrorists today. Just look at what happened at the campuses when Jewish students were trying to go in to Columbia, Harvard, you name it. And now we're seeing the riots in LA. This is reminiscent of what I have seen in the 60s, where you're continuing to use the Democrat platform, which is a party of arrogance, rage, and violence. I think because we have had an open border, and these are statistics anybody can look up on the United States Homeland Security website, there have been over 99 identified known terrorists in our country. I believe that we have sleeper cells here. I've worked in counterterrorism. I also am thrilled that there's a change in president. So you have FBI Director Kash Patel, who is working, and he's going to be diligent working with the FBI, CIA, Homeland Security, make sure when we understand who these terrorists are and identify sleeper cells, we're going to be arresting and deporting these individuals immediately. We don't have the time to sit and wait for another attack on American soil.
Especially after, I don't know if you had a chance to see it this morning, I do my morning research, and Axios is reporting that basically President Trump was doing a head fake the entire time, saying, don't do it, we don't support you, we don't want you to attack Iran, knowing full well what was coming. That could be problematic if it's true. Do you think that's true? Do you think President Trump actually did approve the strike and was just playing it off so Iran wouldn't get their guard up?
Well, let me be very clear. This is the United States of America. We don't approve anybody else's strikes, but I do believe that President Trump knew. I think that President Trump has a very strong relationship with Israel. So when Israel is banking on American support because they are thwarting terrorism, President Trump knew that this attack was coming. And look, again, 60th day, 61st day, there's an attack. There is no doubt in my mind, but the United States does not approve other people's attacks. That's a sign of weakness if that's what happened in Israel.
And it's funny, you say the 61st day. There are no coincidences at that level.
No.
It's actually had to happen. All right, so looking at it now, we're changing gears and looking at it from an economic perspective, which you have a lot of experience with. Oil shot up immediately. I mean, it went up like $8 a barrel right as soon as it happened. Where do you see how this is going to affect the economic markets and specifically gas prices here and other things?
Look, there's no doubt when there's uncertainty overseas, specifically in the Middle East, it's going to impact oil because what did the Biden administration do? He shut down the most important part of energy independence, which was drilling, shale play. So what President Trump has done, again, change in president is going to be a change in landscape for Americans today. We have to get this big, beautiful bill over the finish line because part of that is reducing regulations, allowing for energy independence. There's so many states like mine in Ohio, Pennsylvania, and others that have been shackled, their inability to drill, their regulatory reform that needed to happen so quickly. CEOs are sitting today wondering, when can I start drilling so that America can be energy independent? This is what happens when you rely on foreign countries. Our prices go up.
And I just want, you just brought up, I forgot to tell everybody, you're from Ohio. So how is everything going with that accident with the nitric acid from yesterday? Are people safe or is it still being evacuated?
I think that there have been some reports that people are safe, there's evacuations, and I know that our governor, lieutenant governor, and administrations in our state are actively watching it.
Okay. Yeah, sorry about that because I was like, wait a minute, she's from Ohio. I forget to ask you about that. Sorry. So back to Iran and what they're going to possibly do. We're talking about the tariffs as well. Now, the tariffs, obviously, the courts have approved that Trump can do the tariffs. It just seems like it's all coming together in one big, beautiful bill and everything else. How is this going to affect tariffs, do you think, or at all?
Look, I don't think this will impact tariffs. At the end of the day, what President Trump did was so strategic. Instead of putting all the countries in one room, we didn't show our cards. We went individually to every single look. He just had the Middle Eastern tour, a month ago, 2 months ago, where he sat down strategically with every country that he decided to say, let's negotiate. And those countries came to us and said, we would like to enter the United States market. We would like to spend billions of dollars. So I think when we talk about tariffs, President Trump has been very clever. He hasn't showed his cards, and he is individually negotiating with countries to put U.S. interests first. So this was not done in a vacuum. President Trump is playing three-dimensional chess. He knows exactly what he's doing and what the tipping point is for every single country. We know what the weaknesses are. We know what the strengths are, and we're using that to our advantage.
So in your circles, just changing gears here because I had to get it in before our time expires. What in the heck is going on with these Democrats not having any leadership and deciding to, what I feel was a staged performance by Senator Padilla yesterday, which I think is completely outrageous. It looks staged, it looks choreographed, looks completely like AstroTurf. What are you hearing in your circles about what exactly was going on with that?
I think the Democrats today are a lost party, and I think that they have continued to double down on failing policies. I think when you want law and order, and then you have Gavin Newsom and others that are sitting there to obstruct President Trump by filing injunctions, which, by the way, Gavin Newsom lost. He is going to continue to lose in California. He's never going to be a successful presidential contender because he's not listening to individuals today. And let me tell you, as a legal immigrant, we want law-abiding citizens here. We want people to toil and to work hard and to apply for their paperwork and to be patient and not come over on a bus and given free access to our country. And what Newsom has done is not only stand for illegal immigrants, he's standing for rioters, he's standing for terrorists. And California, I'm telling every state this, if you don't want your state to look like California, do not riot. Peaceful protests are okay, but if you become a rioter, you're next in terms of DHS and law enforcement coming after you. This isn't Biden's America today. That was lawfare. This is Trump's America, which is law-abiding citizens, law and order, peace and prosperity.
You know, you've been in the newsrooms at CNN and Fox and Newsmax, and you're in the thick of things. Do people ever sit back and just say why? Why is Governor Newsom doing this? Why is Karen Bass doing this? How does it benefit them, other than maybe fake voters, to just put a priority on the illegals?
Well, I ask myself that every single day. I ask other reporters that to see what they're seeing on the ground. And I think the Democrat Party has the mentality that they need a victim. And that victim mentality manifests every single time. Look at transgender sports and what happened. The victim with little boys who want to go to girls' locker rooms, but they're on the wrong side of history because you're never going to win on that victimhood mentality. And today, the new victim, they moved from blacks and Hispanics, who used to be their voting base. Their new victim, that's their mentality, not mine. Their new victim is illegal immigration because, boy, we should have them in our country. We should allow them to break our laws. We should allow them to rape our women. That's what Democrats think today. So without victimhood, they would be a party of prosperity today because some of them make some sense. Ro Khanna just said, I just watched his interview, that they want prosperity. They want to get back to law and order. They want to start working for the economy. Well, man, he sounds like a Republican today to me. I think Democrats have lost their party. Get rid of victimhood. Get back to the center. Get back to common sense.
Even, what's his name? John Fetterman, it makes sense every once in a while. Yesterday he came out and said we need to support Israel. So it just seems like that party is completely lost, no leadership, and Hakeem Jeffries and Maxine Waters are just liars. They, along with the media, will go back on a camera and completely gaslight people, just pretend like it never happened. Let me ask you about these rogue judges. I think everybody calls them rogue judges. I don't think they're rogue. I think they were put there to do the job that they're actually doing. How can we fix that? How can I know you would probably say that the legal way was we'd have to get Congress to go in and disband certain courts, certain district courts, but is that feasible?
Look, I think Congress has to step in. The fact that President Trump took a bullet for this country and Congress can't pass a law to make sure that this never happens again, because in 12 years, we're going to have another president, and it's going to continue if we don't put an end to this. But the way we win, in the law is to continue to appeal, to continue to quash these lower court judges, to continue to show the American people lawfare isn't the way to justice. Lawfare isn't the way to peace and prosperity or safety. So it's a twofold approach. President Trump's legal team is not backing down, and I applaud him for that. In addition to, Congress must do their jobs. They promised the American people a different way of life, economy, and security and safety. And if anybody is threatening that, pass the law to make sure that we never, ever have to face this again. They have a job to do.
So are you heading up to Washington tomorrow for the parade, or are you going to, because I'm concerned with everything going on right now, the riots in Israel and Iran. Either Washington's going to be the safest place on the planet, or it's going to be the most incendiary. How do you see tomorrow going?
Look, Barry, I have full confidence that President's administration, and I hope that states are putting in infrastructure to protect citizens. I got an invitation to go. I am staying home because I have heard that there are riots across Ohio, like every other state. We have a local prosecutor here in Cincinnati, a Democrat, that is pulling and pushing for people to protest because she hates Trump. I'm sitting here in Columbus, Ohio, and probably going to think about traveling the state to see what is happening because I'm Ohio first in addition to America first. So I'm going to be right here.
You had posted this, and it was in response to something that Laura Loomer. What did Laura say? Laura posted this. The radical communist pro-open borders group Refuse Fascism, whichever that means, is planning to bus people to Washington to protest Trump's military parade. The LA open border riots are spreading, and they want to incite violence against Trump supporters. And I believe 100% what you say right here. Every city is next. No one is safe. Soros funds it. Democrats defend it. No borders, no law. And this is the biggest thing you said right there is right. They riot because they're never punished. There's never any accountability for these people because they know even in Los Angeles, if they get arrested by local police, they're going to be right back out on the street within hours. What can we do to stop, number one, Soros funding this stuff? And I don't think it's the old man anymore. I think his son now is taking the place as being Dr. Evil. But I think cutting off the money supply has got to be the first strategy per se. You agree?
Well, I do. And I think that what Ohio has done, and I think every state needs to look at this, is stop foreign influences in our elections, stop foreign influences to come into our state. By that I mean Ohio actually stopped foreign funding in our state. So that has to happen in every state so we can stop these foreign influences. But second and most importantly, remember, law enforcement was just glorified babysitters. I went to the southern border. They weren't allowed to do anything under the Biden administration except for allow for illegals to cross our border. Now that ICE is backing them up, DHS is backing them up, and President Trump is, every single law enforcement order officer should be enforcing the law, arresting these individuals, and no bail. You riot, you burn down cars, no bail for you. And the sanctuary cities, DHS has to work strongly with them. And my solution to sanctuary cities is very simple. It's a two-step punch. First, we stop immigration completely, illegal and otherwise, for 1 year. We need to know who's in our country. And then secondly, President Trump needs to cut off funding of every single state that has a sanctuary city. This will end the minute the money dries up.
Oh, yeah. Those hearings yesterday were eye-opening. Tim Walz, Pritzker, and Kathy Hochul just had no clue. And they just had this flippant attitude about them as we don't care. And it was amazing watching Elise Stefanik when she was talking to Hochul. And she's like, do you know who this person is? And it's someone who did some really bad stuff. And she didn't even know who they were. Didn't even care. No big deal. All right. So one last question for you. Actually, it's two last questions. More personal about you. Tell me about American Frontier Strategies.
So I started a company it's been 5 to 10 years now. It's continued to evolve. And I am an attorney, so I do a lot of legal work for companies, but I also provide crisis communications and help, whether it's small businesses or elected leaders, go through a crisis, help them respond to it. And then I really started pivoting to also helping state, local, and gubernatorial candidates across our country. I think in the Republican Party, we can always get better on delivering our message and expanding our base. So it's legal in addition to crisis communications with a lot of love for our party and room to grow.
So speaking of helping candidates, there's a little rumor going out there that you may be either running for J.D. Vance's seat, or I don't know if Mike DeWine appoints somebody. Are you, number one, are you interested? And number two, what's the process for you being the next senator of Ohio?
Well, Barry, respectfully, Governor DeWine did give me an interview, and John Husted, our previous lieutenant governor, is now the U.S. senator, and I support him. I will not be running for the U.S. Senate, but I do know that there's a place for me in Ohio, a place to elevate Ohio voices until I run statewide someday, and I plan on doing that.
Oh, okay. So it's coming. Very fantastic. Thank you for your time today. Be safe out there, because I think this weekend's going to be crazy. Watch out for the family, and best we can do at this point is hope that this craziness absolutely stops. Thank you very much for your time today.
Thanks, Barry. It's great to be with you.
All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed Mehek. I think she's a lot lot of information. You can catch her on Fox News. Sometimes you can catch her on CNN when she ventures into the belly of the beast. And also, she's also on Newsmax. So, we're all looking to see what happens tomorrow as well. She's not going up there. Obviously, I'm not going up there. So we'll see what happens. So just to let you guys know, we will be jumping over to Rumble shortly. Did I not put the picture in here? Hold on. Let me bring in the information. I should have brought that in earlier, but I didn't. So I will bring it in now so you guys can see the link. 1 second. Just having to change some things, and boom. Okay, so this is the Rumble link for tonight. Rumble June. It's always going to be the date, Rumble, and then the date. In the interim, I want to take a few comments and talk to you guys about some things. Great interview. Thanks, Sharon. I'm glad you like it. She's a really smart woman. Really smart. Bereal, thank you very much. Where did she get the 12 years for Trump? She made a mistake. We all make mistakes. So she misspoke, as they say. Oh, here comes SV. SV, what's going on, bro? He asked me if I was going on tonight. I completely missed his text. I'm like, yeah, 6. And it's almost 8, but he's here. He's here to clean up the house if anyone's been messing around. Thank you, Juanita. I'm glad you liked that as well. Neo, thanks. I'm glad you liked Mahak. She's very strong. I did have somebody say something. Jordan Calderon says, Barry, it may be safe in Boca, but I live in the Tampa Bay area and we've had problems already. I advise staying in this weekend, at least for those on the Gulf side of Florida, to each his own, be safe. I completely concur. Go get gas if you haven't gotten it. Go get yourself some gas. Get yourself some of the vitals. You live on the west coast of Florida, so you're familiar with what we have to do to be ready. But wherever you are, be ready. That's the only thing you can do right now. Be ready and be safe. That is absolutely the correct thing to say. Southern Cat Lady, buy gas today. Oil closed up again. Probably gas will cost more tomorrow, and it will definitely cost more next week. So yes, I agree completely. Let me just put that back up. Well, I can't because every time I take a comment, it knocks it down. John Beckham, yes, she is an attorney. Absolutely. Smart woman. Thanks for the Rumble link. Barry, this is your new baby bottle emoji. Yeah, Beth has been making some of those baby videos. I love them. GMAC says, not safe in Chicago. Yeah. I don't know. Again, we can talk about it, but I think we mostly can pray about it and say that we're I thought I saw Max talk to different people if you know law enforcement. Let's see. Oh, here's Maximus. What do we got here? Let's see if Max. I haven't blocked any. You guys are talking. There's so many quotations here from Maxim. Anything from Maximus? Oh, here he is. I would have never leaving. Okay, so Maximus is talking about Padilla. He's absolutely right. That's what I was trying to tell you guys. If you've done security, if you're in law enforcement, you're charged with protecting somebody, there's no way that guy would have got that close. There's just no chance. And so everything you're hearing in the media is complete BS, and it's whining and it's crying. They know it's over. It's so over. they got nothing. Anyone who's, including Democrat police officers and Democrat sheriffs, they know that never would have happened. we'd have had to take you down. And somebody, they're probably being somewhat polite because it was on camera. So it's crazy. Dignitary protection is completely different than policing the streets. You're absolutely right, Maximus. I hope you've been safe out there. I would love to have you talk one day in terms of what you're seeing without getting you in trouble. See, that's the other problem. We know a lot of police officers, a lot of sheriffs, but they can't go on camera and tell people exactly what's happening because they would compromise what they're doing. So just have to be careful with that. I'm in Chicago. I'm leaving for DeKalb in a couple hours. Yeah, good move. Good move. Make sure the house is boarded. Make sure everything is going great. Love your show, but do not know who SV is. That's a good thing. I love the fact that you said, I like the show, but I don't know who SB is. Well, SB, it's a good thing you don't know him because he's usually the guy that comes in and he's one of the mods and he's going to kick you out if you say the wrong thing. So the fact that you don't know who he is, that's a good thing. he's not a big he's not a big meanie though. Let's see here. Brevard Sheriff did. If you guys haven't seen that video, I played it last night. I'm gonna have to clip that if YouTube doesn't get mad at me, where he said, you'll be okay if this happens. You might be okay if this happens. If you throw a brick at one of my officers, we're gonna have to notify your next of kin. Come pick you up. Because they're not playing down here. Not at all. And they've been given the green light. Absolutely green light. Let's see here. BLS Doom Crew. Just try to avoid Esper. You are so funny. I love you some BLS Doom Crew. He's funny as heck in terms of some of the things he says. I know I got to take a new poll. Hold on, let me just take Neo here. We got an announcement at worker protests in Times Square expected today. Glad was not in the city today. Yeah. There's this new thing that they're doing in YouTube videos that I'm terrified to do, where they just let the comments scroll through. And I'm concerned if I let the comments scroll through, we may get some, because we get an inordinate amount of trolls sometimes. But if you guys like that idea of having the comments continually scroll on screen, let me know. Let me know in the chat. Should I do it? SB's like, no, we don't want to do that. There's crazies. There's too many crazies to deal with. I don't know why we get an inordinate amount of nuts, but we get them. We definitely get them. All right, so I am going to, excuse me, I'm going to do super chats, and then we'll jump over to Rumble tonight. As you guys may know, if you've never been here before, what happens is we go over to Rumble, we finish the show over there by my agreement with them. We play some music. I hope it works tonight. I didn't have a chance to put together the videos the way I normally do, and so they're one at a time. So I hope they actually fire off and look decent and sound decent, because no excuse, I fell asleep. I was exhausted from last night, and all day long, filming interviews and everything else. I'm like, I'm tired. I just fell asleep, getting ready for tomorrow. All right, so let's do the super chats. And while I'm doing the super chats, I'll leave this up so you guys can see it. All right, Demon of Cybertron. Barry, I know you have a lot of guests lined up, but do you think you would interview someone in the two-way circle like Brandon Herrera or Colin Noor? Colin, I believe, is that black gentleman. Very, very informative. And I would love to. Ashley, if you're, I don't know if Ashley is watching, but yeah, I would love to interview somebody that. I have to be very careful on YouTube. So maybe it might be something that we do on a jump over. I'm not opposed to doing interviews on the second side, flip side as well. So then we could definitely do it. Shane Tankersley, thank you. Southern Ninjas, some salsa marches tomorrow would be nice, Barry. Sousa. Yeah, John Phillips, Sousa. Okay. All right, we'll go ahead and put that together. I'll have that all in the pre-show. Somebody had asked, am I going to show the entire thing? Yes. It is from 6:30 to 9:30. I don't know what they're doing. I just don't know. Nobody has released any programming. So I will show the whole thing, and also I'll let the music play, even if it's here on YouTube. And then I might have to delete it afterwards, but it will be simulcast on Rumble in case they turn it off for some reason. I think they might have a problem once they start seeing tanks roll out and stuff. They might have a problem. Benedetto Salerno, we are very lucky. We have the best military in the world and the best president ever. God bless the USA. Absolutely. BLS Doom Crew. You love you some Zach Wild. America the Beautiful by Zach Wild. It's on YouTube or Spotify. It's an acoustic version audio. America the Beautiful. I'm writing it down. America Beautiful. Zach Wild. I can't tell you how many times BLS has asked me, play some Zach Wild, man, play some Zach Wild. I'm like, okay. Kim Hansen, please play It's the End of the World as We Know It. This world sucks. I feel bad for the critters. You talking about from REM? I'll go ahead and keep that for tomorrow, too. That's crazy. Parade would be a convenient way of getting a significant military around the president. Yes, that would be. Party Dog, Barry, you said they were telling us not to believe our eyes. And that's exactly what they're doing, aren't they? Yep. It always cracks me up when I see them do those cuts and they're talking, and as they're talking, someone up in the production office is hitting a button and showing a picture, and it's like, do you realize they're saying something that's completely different than what they're seeing on screen? They don't know what these nuts are looking at. Kim Hansen, I'm in Portland, and if they get my way, I'm using my 4-wheel drive Ranger to defend myself. I don't know what they expect. They think people are just you just want someone to come up and break your window or impede you, from getting home, or your wife or your girlfriend, or your children. Nah, sorry. They get to go home. Thank you, Kim. Buddy Sanders, Senator committed obstruction and assault on a law enforcement officer. Yep, he sure did, and he didn't get charged. Party Dog, they shouldn't make a big deal about that senator because it's just this simple. He tried to stand up like a big man and got put down like a little, like a biatch, if you know what I mean. Yes, I do know what you mean. Cutting edge. The final straw was the Mar-a-Lago affair. We saw that Trump was 100% authentic. These people lost my trust for life because of their compulsive and vile lies. You have to wonder why people still listen to it. And they don't know any better. So that's where you guys come in. You guys have got to spread the word. Far aisle. The Democrats don't realize that they are the orchestra on the deck of the Titanic. Maybe they do. Maybe they actually do realize that, and that's what's got them all discombobulated. Tommy Radcliffe, Donald is a smart man. Tommy, I hope you're feeling better. Donald is a smart man. We know it, but it's very much his own way. He's not a physicist. He's a four-dimensional person in a 3D world. It's just not chess. He's special. Yes, I agree. I agree. Mary Kellums, Barry, are we still able to get a discount for kimchi? Yes. I don't have their information, or do I? Let me just put that up for a second. If you want to order kimchi, where is it? Where is it? This is unpaid. This is a question from somebody. Yeah, you'd have to just go here. I can use it. You can use it at any time. Go to mybrightcore.com/Barry, and you get 25% off. So that's a freebie for them. But you asked, so I put it up there. Thornton Maloney. Thornton Maloney, do you realize today is what they said, 39th anniversary of the movie? If you guys don't know the movie, Thornton will probably tell you. Stay strapped tomorrow. Stay strapped tomorrow. Yes, absolutely. And yeah, very great show. An interview with Mahek. Totally watched instead of work. Thanks, and God bless you and team. Happy Daddy's Day. And so tomorrow we've got a number. I've got at least 2 interviews already that we're going to be showing as well. So should be a fun time tomorrow watching what's going on, the parade. We're going to show the whole thing, whatever it is. We will talk about it. All right, so I am going to, let's see, Iran, SB, I guess SB just posted this. Any country defending Israel, we will see its bases become targets. They talk a lot of, excuse my language, they talk a lot of shit. I mean, at any point you guys could be non-existent. You can no longer exist as a country, but you talk a lot of crap, and you're gonna run up into someone who, like Israel, who could make you turn you into a beach, which would be sad for so many of the innocent people. You guys hide behind people, you hide in apartment buildings, you hide in hospitals, and do all that kind of crap, and then you say stuff like that, expect that it's okay, that people are just gonna look the other way while you act stupid. That's why they get what they get. Wow, it's crazy. All right, so I am going to go ahead and jump over to Rumble. Again, what I do is I go to a break, and then after the break, it will show up, and we'll play a couple songs, and then we'll get into some content. Let me see what I got scheduled. All right, see you guys on the other side.